I'm not hearing that jingle playing.
I don't hear anything.
No jingle. All right, well, maybe we'll skip the jingle for today because I'm not hearing it. But we want to welcome everybody. Thank you for checking into Nectar Talks. This is episode 4. And slowly but surely, we are opening the curtains into
And I'm Namamrita.
our... Oh,
Welcome
there
to
he goes.
Nectar Talks.
There
Never
we go.
mind.
The heart of New
Woohoo!
Raman Reti, the largest Hare Krishna community in North America and the home of thousands of Bhakti Yoga practitioners.
In our ongoing interviews, we dig deep into our search for loving connections with Krishna and each other.
With you, we hope to uncover the real-life stories and inner journeys of our vibrant community of friends and special guests.
Like bees searching for nectar, we seek to extract pearls of wisdom from how they live their lives and the lessons they can impart to us and our listeners.
If you're seeking nectar, look no further.
All right, let's get started.
All right, we'll try that one again. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to Nectar Talks. This is episode 4. And like I was saying, slowly but surely, we are opening the curtains onto our community of devotees here in Latra, Florida. And we're having a wonderful time doing that. We want to kindly given us your feedback on our efforts thus far. We really appreciate the community encouragement and all the involvement we've received. Our Facebook page is up and running. That's Nectar Talks Live. So if you want to keep up with upcoming interviews or watch previously archived episodes, you can join us by hitting the like button, and feel free to share it with your friends as well. We look forward to taking your live questions and comments during our epic halftime show today, or at the end of the interview. So please type in your questions either through Zoom chat, or if you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, you can do that there as well. And let us know that you're out there. Okay, Amrita Kaylee is going to introduce our guest today. What's up, Amrita?
Hare Krishna, everybody. How is my internet? Can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Okay, great. My computer says it's searching for internet, which is always scary when we're live. So we're very, very excited that tonight we have Her Grace Akuti Prabhu on the show with us. Thank you so much for coming on. We asked her previous to the interview if she had a bio, already written up, which some devotees have. And she said, no, she did not. But that her bio in short was the servant of the servant of the servant, which we thought really, really summed up who she is as a devotee and how she presents herself in our community. And what we're looking to do tonight is to dive into your very unique spirit of devotion. You seem to really enjoy practicing Krishna consciousness, and we think we're going to learn a lot from you about that tonight. What we do know from our experiences with you in the community, from our research, and from our personal relationships is that you are a Vaishnavi of many talents. You do Sankirtan and preaching. You're a steady hand at the eco farm. You have woodworking and artistry displayed all over, not just New Raman Reti, but the country. There's so many things that are going on in your life. And so we're going to dive into that a bit tonight. So thank you again for coming on, for being such a sport with us.
It should be interesting.
No doubt.
All right, so let's get right into it. Mother Akuti, in our recent talk, we learned that growing up, you were an adventurous tomboy, building forts, playing sports, and you loved to be out in nature. And you shared with us that you grew up in an upper middle class family with 2 sisters and hardworking parents that had big dreams for you. But at some point you met the devotees and you took up to Krishna consciousness full time. To get started, could you tell us a little bit about what your family reaction was to such a drastic change in your life?
Well, when I made that phone call, they just said, "Come home." They said, "That's that cult we've been hearing about." And so they were very bewildered. They didn't know what to think. And of course, I was very enthusiastic. I tried not to preach, but I did go home with my bed sheet on and my books under my arms. And I sat down at the table, stacked high with Chaitanya Charitamrita and all these real philosophical books, and decided to tell them that it was everything. It was it, you know. And it was not the way I should have done it by any means. And yeah, they were lost. They were lost. And I think the most horrifying thing was that I was in the kitchen trying to remember how to cook, because I had to learn from Dina Bandhu by watching, because I wasn't allowed to cook. So I was going to make some things for them to eat. And I was sitting there stirring something, and my mother comes by and takes her finger, was going to taste the preparation like she always did. And I went, ah! I scared her to death, you know. It's like, you can't do that. Anyway, I was over enthusiastic and not real conscious that they were so affected. But they were affected. And but over the years, I always kept contact with them. And I always went home for Christmas and never talked about philosophy again.
What would you say caused that kind of, I guess, you know, today we might call it a little bit of a fanatical approach, back in the day when, you know, with your parents and all that? What was the source of wanting to kind of be so strongly, you know, I'm a devotee and this is who I am, and what, I don't care what you think, you know?
Well, it was very different than who I was before. Night, you know, it was just wasn't the person they knew anymore. So that can hurt a parent.
Right.
What you expect.
Now,
We're disappointed, but anyway.
And would you say that actually affected your practice and your commitment to Krishna consciousness, because there was such a strong reaction from your family?
No, I was really convinced that they were in Maya and that, that I was doing the right thing.
Right.
And I think over the years they saw that it wasn't a fly-by-night thing and that I was really serious. And one of my sisters was really appreciative of it. And she supported me. And it took many, many years before they just realized that I wasn't going anywhere else. Right.
Well, I find it interesting that your devotional name, Akuti, translates to one who is eager in devotion to Krishna, or as you said, the servant of the eager people. And, you know, this is a sacrifice that you made in Prabhupada's service. You were so committed in light of your family's disappointment. And I think that it really ties into your name and your sense of determination. So I really admire that.
I can share a lot in common with what you described, Akuti Prabhu. I also slapped someone's hand for picking a cucumber out of the salad. That was a special moment in our relationship. Prabhu, speaking of your early years in the movement, you know, you were initiated personally by Srila Prabhupada, and you shared with us that you do have a story or some sort of instruction from him that was a teachable moment for you. What was that? Did you get any instruction from him personally?
Well, I got first and second at the same time on the same day. And when my husband, because my husband got second at the same time. So we were leaving his room, and my husband just had to say something. And Prabhupada was sitting at his desk, and he at the very door, he goes, Jai Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada looked up and said, chant and be happy. So that was one instruction. But later on, there's a picture over here on the wall, and it's in Vrindavan at the opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir. And Sudamani and I are in that picture. And Prabhupada was underneath the tree, and all these sannyasis. It was like after the installation, and he was just he had a bunch of sannyasis and Indians all around him, all men. And then there was a few of us women that just kind of sat down, just thought, well, we might just get in on the nectar. And we sat down, and then Prabhupada said something to one of the sannyasis that, don't they have some service to do? Can you find them some service to do? And so that's what I took at heart, that
wow,
that I should always be engaged in some service, not just sitting around trying to, get some nectar. But the real nectar was to serve Prabhupada and find something to do for Krishna. So that's what I always try to do, try not to waste any time. That's what I learned from that incident.
That is extremely evident.
Because if you waste time, then it's Maya has something else for you to do. She's got lots of service to do, so it's one or the other. And Maya's a bad master.
So you told us that your pioneering days, your early days in Krishna consciousness were some of the most adventurous days of your whole life, and that you would do it all over again if you could. Can you tell us a bit about some of those projects that you spearheaded?
Well, I helped open the Dallas temple. That's where I got married, and no family members were there, of course. And I actually, on the wedding night, I had to cook my own feast. And
what did you make?
I was making puris, and we were cooking in oil, and I put the hot oil in a jar and lifted up the jar, glass jar, and it broke, and it burned my whole arm. I had to go to the hospital, and it was a big bubble out like this. And anyway, that was beginning of the exciting marriage years. But it was just exciting going to a city that never knew anything about Krishna, and it was very narrow-minded. The minute we got to town and opened the door to go on Sankirtan, a big Texan with a big hat came by and bam, hit our drum. That was our welcoming. And then we would go to SMU, which is Southern Methodist College, just to go on campus. Shoo, that was heavy. And our temple president was Mohanananda, and he was red hair and fiery. And we went there and we sat there and started chanting, and all of a sudden we opened our eyes, and there's a wall of Methodists all around us, screaming and yelling, and then Mohanananda was screaming and yelling. Anyway, it was pretty exciting. And then we had a little teeny duplex with football players living next door. When we were getting up, they were coming in. And it was, started with a little teeny Volkswagen Bug and a box of incense. And that was what you were told to do. Go to this city and start Krishna consciousness.
And what are some of the other places that you went as well?
Went to Santa Barbara. That was fun. All the mountain people, mountain hippies would come down to our temple and just love prasadam and chant. And when they all left, because it was so small and there were so many people in there, all the pictures were all cockeyed and everything. And they would invite us to go hiking up in the mountains and bring feast to them. And going by myself up in the mountains with big, huge Krishna books on my back and knocking on doors and going inside, showing them Krishna books. installing those. I was the only woman in the temple, and Sankirtan devotees would come by and I'd have to feed them. It was fun. And Portland, Oregon, starting helping with that temple. That was real nectar. It was like a spiritual hub at the time, and a lot of colleges were there, and I was the only woman, and then more women came, and we installed deities, and saw it really grow.
Wow.
Get to use your Krishna consciousness. I would
And at
encourage
some point,
anybody to do that.
Go open temples. There's
Yeah.
more cities out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at some point during this time, as you mentioned, you married Dinabhanu Prabhu, who is well known for his service in Vrindavan. And actually, he was our wedding priest when my wife Sundari and I got married there in 2005. And together you have a daughter. But your family life is kind of unique in the sense that you had many years together doing service, yet now you seem happily situated in doing individual services separately in different countries, and it's been decades now.
Yeah.
So my question when I think of that is, I want to get a little bit into the topic of Vanaprastha, because growing up in ISKCON, which I did, there's a lot of emphasis on the 4 ashrams, which, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and ultimately taking sannyas, which obviously is for both men and women. But it might be unrealistic for most people to think about taking sannyas one day. So I've always kind of meditated on vanaprastha for myself. This phase of life when your children are grown, you're retired from your career, and you can kind of practice Krishna consciousness full time, whether it's through traveling, preaching, or maybe just your personal sadhana. So would you say that this phase when you were living in different countries, was that an intentional entrance into vanaprastha? Is that how you would look at it, or is it something that just happened?
Well, we had vanaprastha in the very beginning. Most householders they were living separately in many temples, or else they would have just a little teeny cubbyhole with a little curtain in between, that was it. And we just went out and started temples, and it was pretty much vanaprastha. You couldn't about so much. That happened in the 80s more, but in the 70s it was vanaprastha all the way. But being married, it kept us out of trouble and kept us from looking here and there. But then for me, I think Dinabhanu was always, he got very attracted and attached to that vanaprastha. Actually, he left a couple of times, just disappeared on Sankirtan. He ended up Vishnujan Maharaj down in Austin from Dallas. He was gone, because he wanted to be with Vishnujan Maharaj. And then another time in Miami, he called up, and he's in South America because he wants to help start a temple in Bogota. Then let me know. So he had that in his blood. We went to Vrindavan for the first time in 1975, and they asked for, Prabhupada wanted extra people to help keep that temple open because he needed people to fill all the spots because they had so many deities. So they were asking for volunteers, and Dinabhanu said, well, you want to stay here? I said, you're temple president in Portland. It's going to be plus I'd been sick. I didn't want to stay in Vrindavan. But he did. His heart wanted to stay there. And that's where his heart always has kind of been. So he's gone. Like I said one time, they have those T-shirts that I lost my shoes in Vrindavan. I lost my husband in Vrindavan. So that was it. 30 some years ago. But the kids, they're the ones that get the big loss, to raise kids. So he says he's sorry and all, but it's there. So it's recommended to make your plans for the future, but to think in that direction. Make your goal, yes, to become detached and to enjoy those years of freedom.
Hmm.
Freeing your soul from so many things that are binding you now.
Right, right.
So make your plans. Might happen, might not.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Life will definitely have its own plans. Krishna's got his
Yep.
plans for us.
Yeah.
But I appreciate what you're saying to have that intention, you know, to be able to focus full time on Krishna and service whenever that presents itself.
Yeah.
Chai. So we've actually already made it to our Nectar Talks halftime show.
Oh my gosh.
We're zooming through today.
What
So-
happens?
So this is where Akuti Prabhu, you have graciously agreed to take part in our rapid fire questions. So what we want here is for you to think as little as possible and just
That's
answer
easy. That's
off
easy.
the cuff. So crack your knuckles, because we're meant to go through this faster than samosas at feast time. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. On your free time, what is your favorite pastime?
Artwork.
Paneer or tofu?
Curd or tofu? Curd all the way.
What book are you currently reading?
Srimad Bhagavatam and Lokanath Goswami's pilgrimage, Brajamandala Parikrama.
A little bit of maha on fast days, yes or no?
No.
Mangalartik or Gora Artik?
Mangalarti.
What's the first concert you attended?
Krishna Conscious concert or Maya concert?
Maya concert.
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh.
Nice. What is your favorite non-devotional book?
Non-devotional book. I wasn't a reader.
No.
I wasn't a reader. I can't even remember one book I read.
I'm not either, so I get it.
Okay, Vrindavan or Mayapur?
Vrindavan.
All right, this is my favorite one. Decaf, bona fide or bogus?
Well, either one. I wouldn't touch the stuff. I wouldn't touch it. Even as a carmy, I never touched it.
Okay, to hand carve or to lathe?
Ooh, I like them both. They go good. They go nicely together, like salt and pepper.
But by the way, the credit on that one goes to your student Ramai Prabhu.
Oh, I've got a new student now.
You do? I was your student for a minute in your workshop. What was your first job?
The only job I ever had in the material world was at the lighthouse in Key Biscayne at a concession stand for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I could get a car and go out west and find Krishna.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I'm pretty lazy.
That one little job you had was just to get you out there to serve.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, 2020, another year in paradise or major austerity?
Ugh, 2020 was paradise. Then I'll take- if that was paradise, then I'll take hell. I tell you.
Got it.
This is our last one. Any nicknames you've carried over the years?
No, I don't have any nicknames. No. Nope.
No, Akuti
even-
G or not. What about in your childhood?
My childhood? No.
Okay, well,
Straight.
we're going to come up with a few then. It's our mission.
That's the for the listeners out there. Text us your nicknames for Mother Akuti. All right. Well,
Okay,
thank you for
so much.
doing that. We appreciate it.
It looks like we have some comments. So Madhurya Leela Prabhu is behind the scenes. Would you like to read those?
Yeah, on Nectar Talks Live, we have Adi Gopi saying the real Nectar is serving Prabhupada, and she has a happy face with that. Shamala Kishori says, what a beautiful instruction. Let's see. Rajira says, there's nowhere in this temple that Akuti's service is not apparent. Krishna Priya, Devi Dasi, 100% Bhakti. Adi Gopi, faster than samosas at feast time. And Shamala Kishori agrees, curd all the way. Adi Gopi says.
That too.
Adi Gopi says, funny you weren't a reader and how much you have read now.
That's such a good point, actually.
I saved it to read Prabhupada's books.
Oh yeah, she says, what a wonderful woman. And okay, Rachira said the girls called her the Energy Bunny.
Oh, so you did have a nickname.
I guess so.
Oh
yeah.
yes, I love it.
And by the way, when we were discussing, potential titles for this interview, I came up with a nickname for you. To me, you're the quiet giant.
Krisha Prabhu is making a comment saying, Energizer Bunny.
Adi Gopi wants to know what your next project is.
All right. Well, now they're starting to take over the interview for us. So
actually,
let's get on with the show.
Adi Gopi Prabhu, we promise we'll answer. We'll have
Yes.
Akuti Prabhu answer that question later. Awesome.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you so much, everyone. So, Akuti Prabhu, Sankirtan was always in the picture for you, no matter what. It seemed like whatever project you were doing, it was always coupled with outreach. And even now we see you're an installation at Harinams and the Rath Yatras. You're always set up with books, and you have your tambourine out during kirtan. You go to Krishna lunch. You do campus preaching. So, and then there's behind the scenes as well, which is sort of that sort of unseen Sankirtan. One of which is cooking Sunday feasts, which we learned you did for over 30 years. And your prasadam preaching was actually so impactful that it influenced one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time enough that he talked about it in a 7-minute speech that he gave. So take a look. Let's see if we can get this up.
And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it.
All right,
So-
thank you. One time was enough.
I'm pretty sure this was in Portland, right? Which you
Yeah,
were
it was
talking
in
about?
Portland.
Yeah.
I really put my heart into those feasts. I would cook at least a 10 prep feast every Sunday and fill everyone up to the neck. I remember when your spiritual master, Victor Cayley, went there and he couldn't go he was too full. He couldn't go anywhere. So he just decided to stay. He kept asking questions and then, okay, all right.
You literally couldn't walk out of the temple.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
for those who are only listening on audio, that was Steve Jobs, of course. So my question to you, Mother Akuti, is: do you feel at all responsible for the rapid growth of smart technology all around the world in the last few decades.
I don't know. Anyway, hopefully he'll benefit in the long run. But I don't remember him personally, but
Yeah.
I remember cooking a lot in Portland.
Right.
Jai. The title, although I think we should have, for the flyer title, called it the Energizer Bunny, Her Grace Akuti Dasi. It is called How to Have Fun While Getting It Done in Bhakti. And you recently told Namamrita and I how important you think it is that we have fun in Krishna consciousness, especially the youth. So how have you kept Krishna consciousness fun throughout your life? And how can we do that as well?
I'm just real project oriented. And so I get something in my mind and I want to do it. And then I just conceive it and create it and try to get people to help me do it. And it's entertainment for myself, but in the same way, I'm trying to figure out how to please Krishna with it. So I stay inspired that way, just thinking of more things to do for Krishna. There's unlimited things you can do for Krishna. And I get fired up, and I just hope nothing gets in my way. That's all. Very passionate, and I have to do something different all the time. So I kind of go in a lot of different directions at one time, and that fulfills my passion, I guess.
So it sounds like it starts with dreaming, basically, like what inspires me, or what would inspire me? Where is there a gap that I can fill in that's actually fun for me? And then try and create projects that fill those needs.
But I also like to just do the needful. And when I see that something needs to be done, and then I think, okay, now how can we do it? It's not always my idea, it's what's needed. Like if the deities need something, or the Prabhupada needs something, like that's why I did the eco farm, because I could see that we needed to do something to try to fulfill that other 50%. So then I kind of gave up some of my Sankirtan to do that, because I saw, well, that's going on now. This needs to be done. No one's doing it. So I think that's the main thing that really gets me going, is what's needed for Prabhupada.
This is a huge takeaway from me. Thank you so much. I think it's the perfect balance. Projects, first of all, something that, any project that can be done for Krishna, something that you enjoy, and also balancing that out with the needful, whether it's your local temple or anything that we know is needed to help in Krishna's service. I really find that to be a wonderful suggestion. And now that I think of it, that's what I've always enjoyed. I've actually taken a little bit after you and trying to build some home altars and things like that. And it's really a lot of fun.
That's why starting temples, everything needs to be done. Everything needs to be done. So that's what's so ecstatic. And then you see that you need help. And so then you're more ecstatic to bring in more people. And then you watch it grow and then see all the projects get done. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, I find that so important, because I know for myself, I never want spiritual life to become a chore or an added stress to my life. But at the same time, when you consider, say, initiation and the requirements of living a Brahminical, clean life and keeping up with, whether it's going to the temple or chanting 16 rounds, when someone is going through a really difficult phase of life, which sometimes could last years. I mean, I think of extreme examples, war-torn countries, or, someone going through a disability. There's so many examples in this world. Is there ever a time when
Uh-oh.
can't really be quote unquote fun, and it has to, you don't have a choice but to kind of go internal. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's the art of transcendence, I guess, to actually to take a shelter of Krishna. Actually, I find that in your japa period, this can go on all the time. That you're in distress or so many different things, and you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper until you're just there with Krishna. And I think that's what makes it so intimate. So when there are problems, that we have to learn how to really take shelter of the holy name and increase our attachment to Krishna. Japa is important.
Yeah. And I like that you're calling it the art of transcendence. That's very meaningful too. Wow, I'm actually taking notes in my notes the first time. You're like, there's a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Krishna consciousness, and I don't think we're going to get enough of in this lifetime. Really, I think we're going to have to come back again. So that's why we got to really make ISKCON really good, so that we can come back. It's still really good. So we're depending on you guys to get it and good. All right.
All right.
That's what is needed for you all.
I agree.
So make it better and better.
Yes.
See, this is something that I've heard a lot from you, Prabhu, and that is that you have a very encouraging mentality when it comes to what you call passing the torch.
Oh.
So to the younger generations. So what does passing the torch look like to you? What does that mean?
Hopefully we'll be able to actually look at it. Hopefully that we'll actually be able to see you stick that torch and everything is light and nice. Not that, okay, finally we're dead and gone, and then you don't know if it ever happened or not. In other words, while we're still alive, I would like to see someone take over this eco farm, and I can sit back and go, yes, go on. So I think we're better sooner than later that we start passing over. Just like when I went to the campus at UNF, I brought you and Tulsi, and it took off, boom, way past what I could done. And I was very happy to let you take it and just see the success you had. See, so this is what we should be doing now.
Yes.
We want to watch you do it.
I was reflecting on this because the story that Akuti Prabhu is referring to is when Tulsi Rani and I were staying in the ashram with her. She would take us to the UNF campus in Jacksonville, and I'd never been here before. And she really enjoyed it, and she'd been doing it for so long. And we started enjoying it too. So she encouraged us to pray to the deities, to Radhashyam Sundar and Gorni Tai specifically, that if we could get a project going in Jacksonville. And it was so instrumental for me because unbeknownst to me, my life actually led me to Jacksonville quite shortly after that. And I became the UNF Hare Krishna chaplain for 7 years. So that encouragement that came directly from you was such a big part of me trying to explore service and Krishna consciousness. And that goes for so many of us in this community. And I just want to thank you personally for lifting us up and making us feel like we have a place and an important contribution to the movement.
Yeah, you all gotta take it and run.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you said, that not only is it the needful to make ISKCON better, but that we can please you guys, and it would be such a thank you gift to be able to show you that yes, you can be confident. We're taking on the torch, and you should be comfortable, going back to Krishna, and that we got this.
That we'll be able to come back and everything will be okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I love how you
for,
keep talking about coming
presenting
back. That's fascinating in itself.
Yeah, like I said, I would do it again.
wherever the needful is, whether it's in the
Yeah.
spiritual world or back here, you'll come back and do it.
Krishna
Such a mood.
consciousness. Krishna consciousness is, I mean, what else is enjoyable in the material world, you know? It's
Right.
But do simple things in Krishna consciousness and you're happy, you know? Cut up Sunday feast for 50 years every Sunday for, you know, it's still nice.
So I wanted to ask you, in our pre-interview, you mentioned that bhajan is very important to you.
Yeah. If you're sick,
You even called it a lifeline.
yeah,
So-
it's like an injection for me. If anything's wrong at all, or if you're down, or if you're bored, or whenever, just sit down and chant your heart out. And if you have other people with you, it's like an injection, a transfusion. That's what it's like. It's a transfusion from the great acharyas. They allow you to give their mercy and their realizations and to go inside you. Even though we're not at that level, it's an infusion. And you begin to feel like in their footsteps, yeah, oh, Gopinath, yes, Gopinath, Gopinath. And so many different things. So bhajan, yeah, is like a transfusion for me. It transports you from material world to the spiritual world.
Yeah.
And you hanker, then you begin to hanker that you wish you had that love and devotion. And it's also an outlet for, you know, musical talents and getting together and hanging out with your God sisters.
When you say the word transfusion, for me, it brings up a blood transfusion, which my daughter, when she was born, she had to have a blood transfusion to save her life.
Whoa.
And so in a sense, bhajan can be a lifesaver, just like you said, it's a lifeline. So yeah, that's a really nice reminder, because I know for myself, I don't do it enough to just go sit down in my temple room and just chant. And but it really can be such a soothing meditation.
Yeah, Prabhupada said that the words, the meaning are all just as good as scripture. I know that scripture of my songs a lot better than I know the scriptures in the Bhagavatam, because I sing them so much. But they're good as, you know, they're realizations of pure devotees, and kind of can relate to it because they put themselves into a so-called lowly situation where they're begging, and that's something that it's hard for us to do, but they help us do it, to actually sit there and beg.
This brings up that the power of this balance that's being created between this personal meditation in bhajan and then this very, very active physical manifestation of service in Krishna consciousness. Do you feel like that daily infusion is what gives you the energy to do what you do?
It's sweets. Hate to admit it, but if I don't have my daily sweets,
I'd like to know where those sweets can be found. They're not always easy to find.
It's beg, bar, or steal, but get the sweets.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So I hunt around. First thing I do is look around in the jar, just have left something. Or else if I have to, I go cook some cookies or something, or I buy stupid sweet, karmi sweet. But without sweets, I don't have that get up and go. I'm sorry. So,
I just feel like I've just been given the most wonderful permission.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah. The holy name is there too, I guess. But yeah, the sweets are important. Yeah. Yeah, if I don't chant my rounds, I mean, if I don't get up early and chant my rounds, forget it, you know. My mind would never go anywhere, you know, it would never get off the ground. So yeah, I meditation, when I joined the movement, I was doing a so-called meditation. And then when they said this was, and you know, I would fast, I made up this whole thing, you know, what I thought was spiritual. And but it was so boring, you know, to sit there and not think about nothing when you can't think about nothing. And then they said, this is active meditation. I go, all right, active meditation. That's perfect for me. So they go together really nicely. And I even get some exercise doing my japa, walking up and down. So that counts too. So yeah, good combination. Sweets and japa and service.
Great.
Thank you.
So let's jump into the eco farm topic.
Yes. So Akuti Prabhu, you are one of the figureheads behind the growing eco teaching farm, as it's called, which is a beautiful project here in Alachua. And you said it's a different type of preaching, but it's so important. Can you tell us what's happening on the ground right now at the eco teaching farm?
Well, the trouble with preaching in general, like going to UNF every day and things like that, is that you have to go out. And so I thought, well, why not have people come here, especially as you get older and gas went up in price. So why don't they come here? So I figured Prabhupada wanted us to do, you know, less technology type living, simple living, high thinking. So there's that land out there. Why don't I attempt it? And I'd already been inspired by Adikarta and Ruchira to do some kind of a project.
I just want to say that all of those photos were things that you have built,
and
art that you've produced on the eco farm. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it's my Sudra tendency is to build. So to do it out there. So anyway, I gave it a long shot. I asked Mookie if I could have the land, and there had already been some hurricanes. Katrina went through and we didn't have water and we didn't have electricity. And I thought, well, maybe we should start doing something, you know? And no way I'm going to start my own huge, you know, Varnashram society. That's never going to happen. So maybe I'll just fiddle around, figure out what I can do. Maybe the school will be involved and find some people that would like to do some project in the near future. Ultimately, Prabhupada said everything's going to crash economically, and we're going to have to rely on this, and that thousands of people come to our farms. And I thought, whoa, we are not ready. So thought maybe I'll do a little something to get ready, and as long as I'm alive, you know, just piddle around. So we call it a teaching farm, but it's a learning farm. I learned a lot. And every day I learned something new. And then I thought, well, maybe other people come. And the ultimate goal is to have seminars, retreats, have the cabins there, and actually people come here and become enlivened and see that we don't just chant Hare Krishna, but we do, you know, ecological things and things that they can use in their life and spread it in a different way. So I think it'll happen. We're supposed to start some cabins very soon this year. And gradually, if I can find someone to be an entrepreneur and start arranging for seminars and retreats, then I think it'll take off, and I think it'll be a real big plus for the New Raman Reta community. We can have Krishna conscious seminars, and we can have outside seminars, classes, cooking classes, weekend retreats, and I think it'll be a source of income also, because we can employ many of our youth cleaning and doing all different services, being secretaries, giving the courses, summer camp can go on there, different things.
So you're actively seeking someone to come into this project.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, business is not my thing. Okay. But I just can give you all the ingredients, and then someone make a wonderful business out of it, and I can help get the people to teach, and I love to teach, and I think we can have, I think it could be a really great source of groups coming in and becoming Krishna conscious and
That's
enlivened.
wonderful.
So
Yeah,
yeah, working for people.
I was hearing the other day that you are having school groups coming in
Yeah. Nice.
and that they're doing different activities on the farm and just absolutely loving it.
And I'm finding that the parents that come along, usually there's parents that come along with the field trips, they're more interested. They say, well, I wouldn't mind volunteering. Can I come?
Right.
Actually, I'm thinking of actually having some adult field trips for local people and have different kind of classes. And because I could see that they wanted to do all the things that the kids were doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for those who aren't familiar, I mean, some of the features there are, you have cob houses, you have a barn, you have a self-sustainable water system, you have a permaculture food forest on there. There's all kinds of really amazing self-sustainability demonstrations that are happening. So yeah, I would invite anyone to go and check it out. I know whenever I go to the temple, I love to go walk back there and see the developments.
If there's anyone that could organize these adult classes, even with the COVID thing in the spring, if if they booked early, then and have them, some of them with a different theme, maybe like a crafty theme, they wanted to do crafts and other things, then we could organize and they could put a down payment, and so that we knew that like in maybe April, March, or May, that we'd be having on this weekend, these classes would be available for the weekend. If somebody wanted to organize that, it'd be real nice. I could start getting the teachers and everything.
I love this. This is an important plug. I also just am reflecting on what you were saying earlier about not only is it fun, we find services that are fun for us, but it's actually fun to brainstorm ways that we can utilize what we have in Krishna's service. And the phrase that's coming to mind is to bloom where you're planted. And to just think about, where am I right now? I love what you said, that, it's one thing to go out, but it's another thing to use what's right around me and transform it in a way that attracts people, to us. That's really efficient, but it's also extremely creative. And I feel like it'd be very enlivening for all of us to just think of ways in our own simple little lives that we can embellish for Krishna and attract other people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Also, on a practical note, Airbnb has a feature called Experience.
Really?
So that's something to look into. Yeah, where people don't necessarily spend the night, but they come out in groups, and it's usually adults or families.
Okay, you're hired. Go for it.
No way.
Tell them about us. Yeah, I'm doing crafts with banana tree barks, and it's kind of fun. Doing all kinds of weavings and all kinds of, you can make banana paper, and you can, so just, things that people would have fun doing for a weekend. And they go home with things. When the kids come here, they go home carrying all kinds of things that they made and did.
It's so nice, especially now when we're saturated with media and everything else, just to actually be in the living arts, tangible, organic environment.
Yeah.
It's very, very healing, actually, on a deep level.
Yeah,
and I
it's
think that's
therapeutic to get your hands dirty, get your feet dirty in the cob, and to actually be in nature. It's very therapeutic. Yeah. Good for the soul too.
Jai.
Thank you. So in your own reflection on aging earlier, you told us that you wanted to go out with some flair at the end. And we love that. But what did you mean by that? What's your idea of going out with some flair?
How about starting a temple in Madagascar. Why
Are you
not?
up for it?
I'm up for it.
Oh my gosh.
I bet you are.
Or I don't know, something wild and exciting. You know, end up somewhere in the world where they don't know about Krishna, and start just telling them about Krishna. Something, you know, pick a place. I always lament because my husband and I were asked to start a temple in New Zealand when we were in Los Angeles in 1972 or something. And I said, where the heck is New Zealand? You know, and I said, no. But I should have said yes, why not? So I need to repay Prabhupada for that.
Right.
I said no. So maybe someone will pick a strange place and go there and see what we can do.
I pray that will happen. That's wonderful.
You know, in talking with my husband about you a bit, he was marveling at, you know, all the different sort of pots that you have your hands in and these big dreams and visions that you have. And he said, for a person like me, that sounds overwhelming, like tiring, not just physically, but even mentally. And he wanted to know, do you ever get tired?
Just about right now, I'm getting tired. I get up at 2:30. So at 7:30, I'm starting to lose steam a little bit. But actually, you know, with the body getting older, I'm hoping I don't get too tired, but your body starts to, you know, hurt and ache a little bit. But so I gotta do a lot of things really fast before I can't do too much more. So I'm trying to save a few things for when I can't run around, that I can do in I have a little craft in my house. So at night I can do things craft wise. And in case it's too cold out there, that I can stay in here and do things. So I have a few things I'll reserve, but Krishna has his plans. But I just hope that I have a little bit more steam to go a little further and to be able to do something that's just like, wow, yeah, refreshing, especially in the preaching department. So we'll see what Krishna has in mind.
Thank you so much, Akuti Prabhu.
Thank you. We're approaching our time here, so
I just have to say, we like Namamrita said, we pray that continues to happen for you as it has your whole life in Krishna consciousness, and that we follow that example. Because like you said, what more could we want? There's so much juice that you're sort of emanating, and to just get some of that. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Look what Prabhupada did at age 70. He was going to all over the world, unheard of for an old man like that. So yeah, we have to keep up to his pace. I don't know, but we got to at least try.
Jai.
And pray to him to help us. And thank him for engaging us, otherwise Maya's got her plans, got plenty of service for us to do.
Thank you. So we have some more comments that we'd like to share before we end.
Yes.
Mother Vaishnavi, Madhurya Leela, you have some comments you want to share?
Yeah. So Hemant liked your curds all the way comment, and then that's Jai Shri Krishna. And when you're not a great reader, but then now you have studied all the Prabhupada's books and you are so learned. He commented that at that time as Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So then Vrindavaneshwari Mataji is saying Akuti is a saint and powerhouse Vaishnavi. It would take at least 10 devotees to do what Akuti does. So anyway, back to you, Namamrita. That question, if you want.
Give credit to the sweets.
There is one question from Lakshmi Ganga. She says, would love to hear you talk about balancing work, school, and service. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, what is your advice for us in that regard?
Oh, first get up and get all your rounds done, and then do what you have to do, but that will balance everything out. That's the big heavy weight. All these other things are, just, you can juggle them, the work and everything. But if you try to, chat 2 rounds to work and 2 rounds while you're waiting for the kids to pick up, and you count 2 rounds when I'm on the phone and 2 rounds when I'm trying to do the computer, you're going to be tipped. Best to get your rounds done and then deal with the other stuff.
So really give priority to that.
Yeah. And then everything else will balance out. You'll get everything else done, and you'll even have time to round it off in the evening and chant and read more and do.
And does that, looking back to your life, say when you were raising your child, and would you say that applies all the way through, or are there certain times of life when maybe that's not so easy?
Somehow or other, I managed. I would get my rounds, go to Mangalarti and get my rounds done, and then deal with it. Deal with all the other stuff. And it helps. I mean, sometimes, you have to finish up your rounds later and everything, but it's, the quality makes a big difference. You feel like you really chanted. Do it in between this and that. It just doesn't really do the work it needs to do, the cleansing. It's just kind of surface cleaning, not deep cleaning.
See, this is an important point, is that it's not just seeing it as a duty that we have to get done, better get it done at the beginning of the day. It's actually, like you said, it's diving into that transcendence. Yeah. So it transforms the way that we're living the rest of our day, just on a practical level.
It's got to do its work, it's got to do the cleansing work and the getting close to Krishna, the experience of Krishna. Otherwise, if we don't have that experience, then all these other experiences are going to take us away, and we'll be an illusion. And
so Krishna helps us to create that balance between the different responsibilities that we have in our life.
He'll do the balancing. We just fix on him, and he somehow or other he takes care of you. He promises he will.
And you're to me, it's clear that you're saying this from actual experience. And that's really inspiring to me, because I need to hear that. I need to have confidence from someone who's actually applied it and experienced that. You can just give priority to that, and things will line up.
Every day I have the quality. I can experience the quality of the chanting. Makes a whole difference of your consciousness the whole day. Single day, I'm conscious of how was my morning program.
Right. Great. Thank you for that good question.
Yes, thank you, Lakshmi Ganga. And what a beautiful way to wrap it up, that to really blossom outwardly, we need to go deep. We need to go deep within with Krishna.
Deep cleaning.
And Vishnu Priya is saying, please don't move.
I second that.
she said like
open up a temple. Maybe just open a temple in Savannah or something.
Or
like that.
Bring Madagascar here to Alachua, Come see our project.
All right. Well, Mother Akuti, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you so much.
It was fun. Y'all are great devotees, and you're doing a great job. Keep going strong and make everyone else strong.
Mother Akuti, I just wanted to let you know that there is a couple of volunteers already lined up for when you are going to do your project.
Okay, good. Get hold of me.
All right. So
Keep going strong.
we will. Thank you. Next episode, we're having Gaur Shakti Das joining us on Nectar Talk. And I want to just make a little announcement that Amrita Kali, you're going to be taking a little leave next month. You're starting a little project of your own. What was that? Baby number 2?
Really?
Yes, we're about to have our second child. So I won't be there. Well, I'll be hopefully in the guest audience coming up with all the questions.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we wish you all the best with your
Wish you the best,
your new
Amrita.
baby.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you all soon. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Akuti Prabhu. Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
everyone. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
That's Mother Akuti, by the way.